Hello everybody, my name is Rolo and today we're going to be reading more Reddit stories. So if that's your cup of tea, please do like and subscribe and let's get right into it. Our first story today comes from the user Fake Name with the title Fired for Being Fat. This was originally posted in r/legal advice. Backstory. I am a woman in my mid-30s and very overweight. Not to the point of a handicap, but I'm a big gal. I work at a company with around 25 employees and have been here for 8 years. Recently, the business was sold to a larger corporation who sent their own people in for management roles after laying off our entire management team, consisting of 4 people. I work with clients in the field and have a good work record, and my clients like me, and I have built relationships with them. Turn to today. I get called into the office of one of the new managers who tells me my appearance isn't a good fit for a client-facing role, and I can either take a pay cut and work in the call center or take unpaid leave and come back after I've lost a considerable amount of weight. I was floored. I've never had a client have an issue with my weight, at least outwardly, and I'm good at my job. I meet all productivity goals and have never even received a write-up in my 8 years. I pushed and asked him if there had been any complaints, to which he said no, but they want to head off any future issues which may arise. I said straight up, so you're punishing me because I'm fat. Are you also demoting obese male coworker in the same role as me? He said no and didn't answer when I asked why the situation was different. I left fuming and told him I was going home for the rest of the day to think about things. Can this really be legal? What recourse do I have? The new management doing this is just crazy. That is insane. It's been 8 years and OP has been a similar size the whole career. It's never been a problem before. They have good relationships with all other clients. Why does this new management team suddenly have a problem when they said themselves there's not actually been any problem? They're just trying to make sure there isn't in the future when there's not been for 8 years, so it doesn't seem like there will be. It just doesn't make sense. It's just clear discrimination and body shaming with a bit of sexism sprinkled in, considering a coworker who's similar size who is male is not getting this treatment. I feel like OP should have a good case for criminal discrimination or workplace discrimination or something like that. Because there's no way that this can fly, right? You can't just fire somebody because they're not the weight you want them to be. Anyway, I really need to see what the comments have to say about this, so let's just jump straight into them. Derspinny says, you've got an argument for sexual discrimination because your employer admitted that they are not going to terminate a male employee of similar build, but it's not a sure shot. Get a referral from the Connecticut Bar Association and talk to an attorney to review this in more detail. To which OP responds, I will do that after I've calmed down a bit. I still have the anger of 1,000 hornets in my body right now, and I don't think I'll be very level-headed. I spent 8 years of my life building my reputation and client base there to be let go because some ass on a newly given power trip doesn't like fat chicks? Would it be legal for me to poach clients of the company if I decide to move on from this job? To which Derspinny responds, you might run into liability if you use private information belonging to your former employer, such as the client list, to build your own competing business. I wouldn't be in a hurry to actively poach clients. If you've signed a non-compete, that would put you at additional risk. Being improperly terminated wouldn't change that. 2 wrongs don't make a right. As it were, as much as I understand your desire to stick it to your former employer. If you land in a similar role elsewhere and your former clients follow you of their own violation, that's much safer ground. To which OP says, you're right, I wasn't being rational. I need to take on one hurdle at a time. Be Even Station O says, might be worth getting it in writing. Send an email acknowledging the conversation and asking details around what amount of weight loss is needed, etc. Having things in writing always helps. To which OP says, I'll give myself some time to calm down and then compose the email politely. If I write it right now, I would probably include things directed at this jerk that could get me fired. Tomos responds to that saying, my recommended wording would be something along the lines of, boss, per our prior conversation, in order to maintain my position and pay, I will need to take unpaid time off in order to achieve the required weight loss expectations you set during our meeting. Could you please reiterate exactly what that weight goal is so that I will know what I am working for? Alternatively, You mentioned that I could opt to take a pay cut and work in the call center. What would my new pay be if I were unable to lose the amount of weight necessary to keep my job? Signed, fake name. That basically lays out the conversation that took place and gives them an opportunity to dig a bigger hole. To which OP says, "This is good. Thank you. I'm waiting until tomorrow after I talk to an attorney to send any emails, but if I do, the format you used is very helpful." OP updates a little bit later saying, "I spoke with the law office my sister recommended this morning, and I have been asked to no longer post online about the situation. Sorry for such a non-satisfying update." However, OP then comes in with an update about 2 weeks later, which says, "I posted this 2 weeks ago and a lot has happened. Something happened before I could go any further with the lawyer I spoke to. The Monday following the incident, I was asked to come speak with the VP of HR I've never met and only knew by name, because they work directly for the company that bought ours out. When I walked in the conference room, there were 4 people waiting for me, 2 of which I was told was part of legal. What I didn't realize is my friend who I mentioned in the comments of the other post ended up saying something to another co-worker because he was so horrified at the situation, even though I told him to keep it secret. This information ended up making its way up the chain and was not taken well, to say the least. I was asked to explain exactly what happened, who I told, and asked a lot of questions. Everything I said seemed to make them very uncomfortable, especially when I told them I was in touch with a lawyer. They had me leave the room for nearly 40 minutes and then called me back in and let me know they were very concerned about this situation and assured me it was an isolated power trip basically. This is the holy shit part. They say that due to my long tenure in my position, knowledge of how the team works, and my relationship with clients, that they felt I would be a good fit for the position the jerk manager sat in. And if I wanted the position, it was mine, as their way of saying sorry. They also made sure to mention the large salary increase and bonuses this would come with. I took a couple of minutes to think about it and took the offer. By the way, I'm not stupid. I know they did this so I wouldn't take any legal action against them, but I love my job and don't blame them for the actions of a 20-something on a power trip. I also know it came down to he said, she said, and would have been a hard case to prove. There's going to be a company-wide training on gender and interpersonal relations, and I finally have an office with a door that I can actually close. I'm in the field a lot less now, so I guess the jerk got what he wanted, because now I don't interact face-to-face nearly as much as I used to. And for clarification, he was fired, not demoted or transferred. Let's just give OP a round of applause here. Wow. That went from a pretty seriously damning situation, not only for OP, being given this ultimatum of lose your job or lose weight, and turned to such a really amazing opportunity for OP. A promotion, a pay rise, extra bonuses, and acknowledgement that this is bad, and company-wide training about how to avoid this in the future. Yeah, luckily she managed to turn it around for herself. That's amazing. I'm honestly such shocked about that update. That was crazy, the 180 that it did there. But let's see what the comments think about this amazing update. Elitist Ferret says, "Probably the best solution one could hope for. I wonder what the dude who got fired is going to tell people when they ask what happened." OP says, "I got screwed over by a fat bitch. The same thing every man has said when he knows he fucked up in my life's experience. It's like when a guy is coming onto you, asking for nudes, flirting, and once you tell them no, it's all of a sudden, you're an ugly fat whore, fuck you." The Sun says, using the term fat bitch as a description will inform everyone exactly why he was fired. Some commenters come in to defend OP when there was talk of the questioning of the realness of this post, considering the boss was fired. Blatant Conservative says, "This update today? Totally legit in my opinion. Dude fires a woman for being fat. He's getting launched out of the window via pneumatic tube." Blousy Chrism says, to that, "Exactly. Isn't that unheard of?" Wolfless also adds, "Not to mention, promoting OP solves a bunch of problems. Assuming she's actually qualified, it means they don't need to go through lengthy, expensive hiring processes, and it prevents an expensive lawsuit from happening, which they would probably lose." Anyway, that is where I'm going to leave that story. So if you did enjoy that, please let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Do you think OP took the right steps in accepting this promotion? Would you have done something different? Let me know. And let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from a deleted user from the Am I the Asshole subreddit with the title, Am I the asshole for being angry at my girlfriend for basically abandoning me during our couple vacation? I, 27 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, have been together for 4 years and lived together for nearly 2 years. Recently, due to our work schedule, we have been unable to go out much. My girlfriend loves skiing. I'm a newbie, hiking and climbing. I can't do this due to my fear of heights. A few weeks ago was her birthday. I bought her a necklace and proposed her to organize together a couple trip on the mountains. I paid for it. This was the schedule we came up with. Day 1, skiing separately. Day 2, skiing alone and visiting a particular tourist spot we saw on the internet in the evening. Day 3, hiking together while chatting. Day 4, visiting the town nearby. Day 5, visiting another tourist spot and more in general, free time together. Day 6, go back home. 1 week before our trip, she informed me that she had invited one of her friends and her boyfriend to come with us. She would pay for the hotel and they would pay for the rest. I was a bit upset because she didn't even ask me. Despite the schedule, this is how we spent the days. Day 1, skiing. Day 2, skiing. Day 3, hiking. She talked to her friend the whole time. Day 4, skiing and visiting the town nearby as a group. Day 5, she found out there was a climbing spot nearby and decided to go there in the morning. She was supposed to come back at 1, but came back in the evening. Day 6, we went home. During the whole trip, I asked her multiple times if we could do something together as a couple, and every time she told me we would spend the 5th day alone together. That didn't happen, so we basically spent 0 time together. I tried to let it go, but once we got home, she realized I was upset. She insisted, so I told her that I was happy she had fun, but upset our couple trip became a group trip in which she either abandoned me or ignored me. She got angry, claiming that since this was supposed to be her birthday trip, she had the right to decide what she wanted to do. Am I the asshole for being angry over what happened? Not the asshole at all, in my opinion, personally. I mean, this was supposed to be a couple's trip. You arranged that, you talked about that from the start. You arranged a itinerary of what you're going to do for the days, and then despite clearly setting out that you're going to do these couple activities together to spend time as a couple, she just went ahead and invited her friends without even checking that that's okay, or even thinking that this is a couple trip, so, maybe since you don't get to spend one-on-one time a lot, she should just take the opportunity that is being given to her. I don't know, I think that this is her way of avoiding you, and maybe it's time to just let the relationship go at this point. Let's see what the comments have to say. A deleted commenter says, not the asshole. She outright dismissed your feelings and decided to invite her friends. I get you've been together this long, but I don't see how your relationship can improve after this. This trip was supposed to be for the 2 of you, and yet others joined in? I can't imagine what would happen if you had a honeymoon with her. She would have invited her friends. To which OP responds, I didn't want to reveal this bit since it wasn't exactly a core point for this post, but in quotes, I can't imagine what would happen if you had a honeymoon with her. She would have invited her friends, and says, I had bought a ring and I intended to propose to her on this trip. I decided to wait when she invited her friends, but I brought the ring anyway, just in case the right moment came. I guess fate wanted to send me a message. The deleted commenter responds, oh my god, this trip is a big red flag. The signs are right in front of you. The fact that you didn't even get a date to yourself and your girlfriend speaks volumes about your relationship. Do not marry this woman. To which OP says, the idea of marriage has already gone down the ditch. OP comes in with the update the next day. I don't know if I need to ask for permission before posting an update. I will remove in case there is any problem. I stayed at a friend's house for the last couple of days. I didn't have the strength to deal with my girlfriend. I read all your comments and advice yesterday. I went back home today and waited in the living room for her to come back. I was obviously still upset, but I tried to stay calm and asked her how she felt about the trip and about what I had told her after we came back. She reiterated that she thought I was exaggerating and that the trip was a success and that everybody had fun. I reminded her that we had originally agreed this was supposed to be a trip for us to spend time together. I asked her if she really thought that even under that POV, the trip had been a success. She hesitated, but said that we will have plenty of time to spend together in the future. I told her that I doubted it, and showed her the engagement ring I had bought to propose for her. I explained that before the trip, I was sure she was the woman I would have loved to spend my whole life with, but that after what happened, I reflected deeply on our relationship and realized that it wasn't working out. I explained how much I sacrificed for her in the past, only to be left alone when I needed help, and how much what she did in the trip hurt me. She tried to say something, but I told her I was sick of listening to her and never being listened to. I told her I didn't want to listen to her now, and probably not in the near future either. We broke up. The house is mine, so she went to stay with a friend. I wanted to thank all the people who commented under the original post for the advice. Thank you and goodbye. I honestly think this situation turned out for the best. If she's being like this now, at this point in the relationship where OP is thinking it's time to propose, I can't imagine what she's been like in the past that OP has just overlooked for the sake of quote-unquote love. But let's see what the comments think. Signal Historian 456 says, "You did the right thing. Did she just accept that you broke up and still thought she was right? Or did she see that she fucked up and been at least remorseful? And how did she react when she saw the ring?" OP replies, "She said we could still be together and that she would try to fix things in some way." To which Signal Historian says, "I'd like to know how she wants to fix this, because I can't see any way besides time traveling." To which OP replies, "I don't know. And to be sincere, I don't care anymore. Just the thought that I wasted my only vacation for the next 5 months being the driver doormat for her and her friends makes my blood boil. Tomorrow I have to go back to work and I just want to think about something else and move on with my life." Broadsharp 2 says, "Has this been the way she's always treated you throughout the relationship? Sort of dismissive of you, or just recently?" OP says, "She was always a bit self-centered, but we originally used to support each other. In the last few months though, her problems were our problems and my problems were my problems." And a final comment from 8-Bit Flatus, which says, "I would have done the same. Not worth keeping a relationship, which in my head consists of 2, and only 2, people if only one is interested." Watching the original post, it almost seems like you went on a vacation with a friend, not with a significant other. And OP replies, "I have gone to trips with friends in the past. The difference was that I had fun during those trips." That last comment from OP, jeez. He really hated that trip and I can understand why. However, what do you think of this situation? Do you think that OP took the right course of action in this situation, or would you have done something else? Please let me know in the comments, and thank you for sticking along with today's stories, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye!